Hi, it's Saturday, June 4th, 2022, and I just wanted to check in. It's been a few days. I've been up in Vegas. I played some poker tournaments up there. I went 0 for 4. Fired a couple bullets in the 1500 dealer's choice. Felt like I really played well. I was studying some Badugi strategy before there's some Badugi math I was looking up, and that would actually really help me. I actually felt like applying that, like I felt like I was like substantially better. I was like crushing it in Badugi, which is like a game I've never felt very confident in. So that was nice. And then I just think like playing a tournament like that just like improves you as an all-around poker player. You end up playing with some good players who know how to play certain games, and it was a lot of fun too, but unfortunately, cards just didn't go my way. And then I played a $500 dealer's choice at MGM Grand, and that didn't go my way either. I finished like 20th out of like 106, so I missed the money. I think they paid like 13, but I was deep enough to feel like I was being competitive and like. So, and I only played one dealer's choice before this trip ever, and I cashed in that. That was a low buy-in, but to me, that's telling me that like I can hold my own in these dealer's choice fields. So then yesterday on the way out of town, I played MGM Grand at a $500. Uh, it's referred to sometimes. They call it Kansas City Low Bowl. It's deuce to seven, one draw, no limit. And this particular variant of poker is not played very much. It's usually only played at the World Series. They have usually two events. It's a game it's an old game. It's a game they've played a long time, and all the greats, all the Doyle Brunsons, the Chip Reeses, they all talked about this game as being like the game, and like a lot of mixed game players, a lot of like all around great poker players will tell you that like this is the game that has they think is the best game, that this is the highest. There's a lot of poker theory you can apply to this game, and I'm a limit hold'em player. That's like my specialty, and a lot of the concepts from limit hold'em I think apply to deuce to seven single draw really well, just as far as like understanding where you're at in your range and playing a pretty wide range. You get to play a lot of really wide range spots in limit hold'em, and I think that's something that really helps me with deuce to seven single draw. You're playing wide range spots because you only have one draw, so people aren't drawing as nutted as when they're drawing. Nines, tens, jacks typically win hands. Queens can win hands. And so it's really a skill game, and it's really, there's a lot of creative stuff you can do in the game. I actually snowed in a spot which is where you stand pat, but you don't actually, you have a dud, you have nothing, and you're just standing pat pretending to have a hand and then betting off. And I did this because I was dealt three of a kind threes. I actually did it twice. I did it once in the dealer's choice, and then I did it once in the no limit draw tournament yesterday. And basically, I'm dealt three of a kind threes. To me, that means, well, it's unlikely that someone else is going to have that one exact card, and so this is a good spot to do this. If that's one of the cards they're drawing to, they're going to have a hard time hitting that card. It doesn't affect the math that much, but it affects it a little. And in game theory, it's like you take what affects the math a little, if nothing affects the math a lot. And so that to me is a good way to pick like what hand am I going to snow with. And it worked both times I did it. I stood pat and bet big after they drew, and I don't even know if I bet big both times. I think the first one I didn't bet as much. The second one I bet bigger. But either way, I got a fold both times, and it's just a really fun game. And I'll be honest, like I don't think there's that many people that play the game real well. Like I think yesterday we ended up with 35 players, and there was a 20,000 guarantee at a 500 buy-in, which means they needed 40 players to cover that guarantee, and they only got 35. So there was actually an overlay in the tournament. There was more money in the prize pool than the players had put up with their buy-ins. And I finished in like 12th place. So I outlasted 2/3 of the field, which I felt pretty good about for my first like single draw tournament, and playing a field that was pretty tough. I mean, like for you to want to like choose to like buy into a $500 deuce tournament, like these are people who've been playing poker a long time. A lot of these guys play a lot of, relatively have played a lot of single draw compared to like an average person. I mean, these were poker mixed game players who were pretty good, a lot of them, and I was able to hold my own and really felt like I had a really good strategy, and I learned during the tournament, like I definitely learned like you definitely want to be pat when you're all in. I learned that the hard way. Although, I mean, I think the spot I had was, I think I had to call because it was blind versus blind. I was short stacked. I had deuce 3, 4, 5, which is a good draw. It's not the best draw because the 6 makes a straight, so you're a little better off if instead of the 5 you had a 7, because then you could draw 2 cards to make a 7 instead of just 1. But it's still a pretty good draw, and for a heads up pot, I mean, this guy could be drawing 2. He could be standing pat with a queen, which I'm going to be a coin flip probably. Or he could be drawing 1 to a worse draw where I'm going to be a significant favorite. So I think it was the right play. I did, that's the thing in the game. Ultimately, it is going to come down to the draw. And, I know that like a lot of people might think that I don't gamble responsibly. And while it's true that I don't probably adhere to a lot of the guidelines that other people do as far as money management, having a fixed amount set aside, the world I live in and the reality of the world I live in is causing me to make decisions that seem a little unusual. But the reason I'm making decisions that seem unusual is because I'm living in a world where the dollar, the currency, is losing its value fast. And that changes it. I don't want to hold a big cash bankroll, and I'm willing to gamble. And while I'm willing to gamble with the cash that I have, I'm not willing to gamble with my gold. See, I got a certain amount of gold, and that's my safety net. That's my cushion. That's my post-collapse, here's something for yourself shit. So in a way, I'm actually pretty risk averse, even though it probably appears to a lot of people like I'm gambling recklessly when I tell them how little cash I have, when I tell them what games I'm playing. And the truth be told, I probably can't play in some of the games that I've been playing in because I've had a bit of a rough spell, and I probably got to drop down in limits. I might even start taking some side work on the weekends, driving an Uber or something. Just try to make ends meet, try to get a little more cash, get myself back into the action, because I could try to get staked, but I really hate being staked. I really like being able to play with my own money. And the idea of driving an Uber kind of appeals to me. I think I'd get to meet some people, have some conversations, which I can enjoy. And I think that it's something my friend suggested to me some months ago, and now that I'm really, I got like maybe one bullet left at the local casino. I gotta pay, I got summer school for the kids, preschool, so I'm paying for that. So yeah, I'm mostly broke, and as far as my bankroll, so. But I got a plan. I feel like I got a solid place to land with the Uber thing, and I'm not gonna be the first. I don't. This is not a source of shame for me. Um, you know, at the end of the day, gamblers gamble, man, and yeah, maybe there's a handful of guys who are real good with their bankroll, real good doing it the right way, and I'm a gambler, dude. Like, if I see a spot, I see a game, I think I got an edge. If I got the money to buy into that game, I'm probably going to buy into that game, dude. And this is not just me. There's a story about Ted Forrest had his whole bankroll was like, I think he had a rack of flags at Bellagio in his box. So a flag is a $5,000 chip, right? So 100 $500 chips is $500,000, right? So he had 500,000 in a rack of flags in his box. And this guy shows up to Bellagio, Andy Beal, and he wants to play big. And he ends up playing, I believe it was 10,000 and 20,000 limit hold'em against Chip Reese, who is one of the greatest mixed game players to ever live. They're playing heads up, $10,000 and $20,000 limit hold'em, and Ted Forrest shows up at the casino, puts his entire bankroll on the fucking table, 500 grand, and he gambles. And I don't remember if he won or he lost. He probably doesn't remember either, man. I mean, this is how it goes in the gambling world, man. And sometimes you're flush, sometimes you're bust, man. And I know some people seem like they're always flush, but it's a tough world to stay flush, man. Because if you're a good player, you're going to have an ego, dude. And you're going to want to play in the biggest fucking game in the room. And everyone wants to play in that fucking game. And it takes a special kind of player to be like, I'm not good enough to play in that game. I'm just going to play this lower limit. And there are guys who do that, who grind it out in the 2040, who just, they do it. They've done it for years, and they probably make money. Maybe they're responsible. So you never know. You never know what leaks people have, where the money's going. Drugs, women, whatever it is. Table games. A lot of the guys, they bet sports. It doesn't matter. It's each individual's choice, and each person fits it into their life however they fit it in, man. And it is what it is. I know some people got to give it up. For me, that's just not part of who I am. That's everything in life to me is a gamble. It's you're weighing risk and reward, and I take the shots I take, man. And one of these days, I'll probably hit one of them. And I'll tell you, if I ever get a big bankroll, I tell myself, oh, I'll hold on to it. I'll be smart. But the truth is, if I say I had 100,000 bankroll, and I went into Talking Stick and they were playing fucking 300, 600 fucking hold'em, I'm probably gonna fucking sit, dude. Because I guess it went dark.